Chef Kevin Nagandi with you for the next 60 minutes. Sham standing by. Could this be the summer of Kevin Durant? But we start in the NFL, where Cowboys star Micah Parsons is up for a monster payday, but Jerry Jones didn't exactly help negotiations today. Take a listen.
The agent is not a factor here of something to worry about. And I don't know his name. And so my point is that I'm not trying to demean him in any way, but this isn't about an agent. I'm the one who has to sign the check, and Michael's the one that has to agree to it. So that's the straightest way to get there, is the one writing the check and the one agreeing to it talking.
And after those comments, Micah Parsons defending his agent, saying in part, "I will not be doing any deal without David Mulugheta involved. I hired experts for a reason. There is no one I trust more when it comes to negotiating contracts than David. There will be no backdoors in this contract negotiation." By the way, Mulugheta representing over 40 NFL players for Athletes First. On the scene in Florida at the league's annual meeting is senior NFL insider Adam Schefter. And Schefter, it's never dull with Jerry Jones and his stars when it comes to negotiating time. What are you hearing about these contract talks between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons?
Well, contrary to what Jerry Jones said there, Kevin, David Mulugheta is a factor here, and David Mulugheta is going to be a factor here in contract discussions with Micah Parsons. As Micah himself tweeted out, David will be a part of this, and David Mulugheta will wind up signing off on a deal that Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons appear to have been down the road on, trying to figure out the parameters of a deal, agreeing essentially in the length of the contract, getting the parameters down, but they will not get a deal finalized without the participation of Micah Parsons' agent in this particular case. And again, the deal is expected to get done at some point. Jerry Jones doesn't sound like he's in a rush to get it done, but at some point that deal is going to happen, and Micah Parsons will be tied up long-term to the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, Cowboys fans, keep in mind, today, Cowboys' new head coach, Brian Schottenheimer, said he expects Parsons to be a participant at the voluntary offseason program, which starts on Monday. All right, you're at the NFL annual meetings, and a discussion today, the owners deciding to table a proposal to ban the tush-push, but it will continue discussions ahead of May's spring meeting. Sources telling our Kalen Kaler that 16 teams supported the ban, but 24 are required to make a change. The Eagles had the most success with this play. Head coach Nick Sirianni today.
I know what the data says, and I know how we coach it, and we don't coach a push play any different than we coach a quarterback sneak play. The injury data says what it says, and we coach it the exact same, whether somebody's pushing or whether somebody's not pushing.
I remember reading about the forward pass, and they said it really was an odd play that is no part of American football, and so it was controversial when the forward pass came out. I don't ever remember a play being banned because a single team or a few teams were running it effectively.
If it stays, it stays, and we all have to figure out a way to stop it. It's maybe not the most beautiful play I've ever seen. I don't watch much rugby, but it looks a lot like that. But we'll see what everybody decides.
It works. It's football. Shefty back here with us. What's next in this process with the tush-push?
Kevin, despite all those voices, the most important voice belongs to Roger Goodell. And the NFL commissioner told reporters this afternoon that he had some hesitation. You can read between the lines of what he was saying. Conversations are going to continue. He said there was no actual injury data, but that they were trying to be proactive and get ahead from a player being injured in this particular play. He said that they were interested in going back to the way the rule was pre-2004, when players were not allowed to push players the way the Eagles have done so masterfully in recent years with the play now known as the tush push. And so conversations will continue at the league meetings in May in Minneapolis. But the fact that this was tabled and not rejected today tells you that there's a real chance that we've seen the last of the tush push, and your Philadelphia Eagles are going to have to find a different play on 3rd and short, 4th and short, goal line plays to get the ball in the end zone, because there's a real possibility that the tush push has seen its final days.
One thing they have is a quarterback that can squat 650 pounds in Jalen Hurts. Eagles offensive tackle Lane Johnson with a subtweet today saying, hate us because they ain't us. All right, now the NFL draft is only 23 days away, and the Giants have the 3rd overall pick. And it could go many different ways. They need a franchise quarterback after Daniel Jones didn't work out, but they did sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston this offseason. Head coach Brian Daboll spoke today about the quarterbacks and their draft pick.
I think as many good players as we can add, we'll take. So right now we have the 3 guys in the quarterback room. We'll see what happens here over the next, call it month, if you will. And, whoever's in that room, we'll do the best job we can of coaching them up.
We saw you dapping up Shedeur Sanders. You obviously have a relationship there. What have you got to know about him so far as a person?
Yeah, again, I respect the question. Just relative to the guys in the draft and the draft picks and the evaluation process of these guys, I'll keep all that stuff in-house right now.
Schefter, this question ain't going anywhere for the next 23 days, so get ready to hear it every single day, even in your sleep. What's the latest you're hearing about the top quarterbacks in this draft as we have the Titans on the clock?
Kevin, it certainly seems like Cam Ward is locked into the number 1 position, and it certainly seems like the Titans are way more inclined to hold on to that pick today than to move off it. And then that becomes, where does Shedeur Sanders go? And there are signs, though no direct evidence, that he will not go number 2 to the Cleveland Browns. And there are signs, though not direct evidence, that he may not go number 3 to the New York Giants. Most personnel people agree that the elite players in this draft class are Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, who could potentially shape up as the 2nd and 3rd overall picks in this draft in no particular order, to the Cleveland Browns at 2 and the New York Giants at 3. And that'll be the big decision that both those franchises, especially the New York Giants, have to make. Are the other players so good that you can't pass them up? And are there enough questions about Shedeur that you're not willing to risk that this high? But it certainly seems, with just over a few weeks left to the NFL draft in Green Bay, that there's a real question about whether Shedeur Sanders will wind up going 2 or 3. And if he doesn't, then where does he go in the draft? And that right now looks like the single most compelling question of the upcoming NFL draft.
He is the reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, had a phenomenal season leading Colorado to 9 wins. Schefter, thank you so much. A handful of uncertainty for some teams at quarterback, especially in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are still waiting to see if Aaron Rodgers will sign on. Rodgers worked out with new Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf, and owner Art Rooney II was asked about it today.
I would say it was a good sign that he wanted to do that, and we keep hearing that he's I guess headed in our direction, and so that seems to be, all signs are positive so far.
Steelers reporter Brooke Pryor joining us now from the annual league.